Hi, welcome to Giulio's Bar. Today's episode is about Kabosu. So Kabosu is another Japanese citrus. It's originally from the province of Oita, from Kyushu, in the northern part of the southernmost major island of Japan. This is Kabosu. It's a pretty ugly one and it's a bit small. Kabosu can also be a bit bigger, but this is really good. Actually, they are from Chiba, which is right next to Tokyo, so I guess they are ugly, but by shopping locally they taste a bit better than usual. I think they have a great fragrance. It's acidic, but it has more nuanced toned and more fragrance than the Sudachi, but is sharper than a yuzu. Anyway, let's get to mixing. Today we are gonna have two drinks, not one. Let's start with a simple variation on a Negroni or a Boulevardier. Anyway, a variation on the two. We are gonna have the juice of half a Kabosu. I chose the bigger of the ones I have. They are still pretty small, but this one was the bigger one. As you can see, it has lots of seed, like many of these Japanese citruses. I'm just gonna squeeze it in. Probably it's like less than 10 milliliters, it's not much. Then I'm just gonna slightly modify the proportion from a Negroni. I'm gonna have a bit less Campari. Let's go with, let's say 20 milliliters of Campari. Then 30 milliliters of cognac, in this case the Hennessy, which is 40% ABV, one of the most famous cognac in the world. I used to do this drink with single malt Scotch whiskey, but I tried with cognac and I think it matches better the other flavors, especially the Kabosu. And then 40 milliliters of sweet vermouth. In this case I'm using Del Professore Rosso, which is a really nice vermouth. It has a bit more alcoholic content than other sweet vermouth at 18%. And we are pretty much done. I'm just gonna get a big rock of ice and I'm gonna drop it in. Well, let's give this a stir. I'm really happy with this Kabosu I got. They are still rare because it's early in the season. I'm shooting this video at the beginning of November and I was waiting for Kabosu to arrive, but these are the really first I found. It's gonna become more popular in the weeks to come. And there you go. What's this? A Kabosu. It's not really a Boulevardier because I use cognac. It's not really a Negroni either. But Kabosu drink. Cheers. This is specifically done for Kabosu. Even without expressing any peel, I can smell the really flavorful juice. And by having a bit less Campari in the overall formula helps because the Kabosu brings the citrus. Also, the flavorfulness of Kabosu make up for the kind of less flavorfulness of the cognac compared to the single malt whiskey. Now, I'm not saying the cognac has less flavor than the single malt whiskey, but at least in this case I think is a bit of a darker feeling, but the Kabosu spices it up a notch. Oh, this is nice. Not too sweet, not too acidic, really balanced drink. I like this. I'm gonna do it more in the weeks to come when Kabosu is in season. Next drink! So the next drink is gonna be based around Kirsch or Kirschwasser, this German distillate made by fermenting cherries and their pits too. And this stuff is wild, man. It's super funky, really weird. Because they use the pits, it still reminds me a bit of grappa. And I'm gonna merge this weird, funky German spirit with some single malt from Scotland. This is Deanston. This is one of those bottler releases, single cask, 56.5%. And I chose this specifically because it has a definitely more fruity flavor than other whiskey I have in my collection. Probably you can use a normal Deanston. From what the review I saw, normal Deanstons also have these characteristics. So let's start from this one. I'm gonna pour 25 milliliters of this in my Glencairn just because I'm gonna taste it. I would say 20 milliliters is the right proportion in the cocktail we have. So I have a bit of space for the taste. So I can tell you my impressions on this whiskey. Well, a mountain of honey, peaches, totally. Yeah, I chose this specifically for the maltiness, sweetness and fruitiness, which I think it needs to bring to the cocktail. Let me have a small sip. Well, it gets a bit dark and caramel-like, but no spice. This is an awesome single malt whiskey. Yeah, it's a bit on the expensive side to put inside a mixed drink, but not too much because it's in the end it was 8-year-old. It's expensive, but not insanely so. So let's start with this. Then I'm gonna go on with 10 milliliters of Galliano because after I mixed a few versions of this drink, I realized the vanilla flavors were coming up. And Galliano has a bit of vanilla, but also a bit of anise flavor that I think brings everything together in the end. So 10 milliliters of Galliano, 45 milliliters of cranberry juice. I guess I was on a cranberry experience because I should have saved this, but I helped Giulio with the Cosmo video. Let's say we cooperate sometime despite the 8. And then 45 milliliters of this funky Kirsch. Oh man, that's wild. Remind me of heroin from Germany in Pulp Fiction.
And that is Choco from the Harz Mountains of Germany.
Anyway, so I put 30, 15 more. And I forgot the Kabosu. This time we put the juice of the whole Kabosu. I need a bit more, so I'm gonna choose maybe this one, a medium-sized Kabosu, and I'm gonna juice it all inside my shaker. I'm gonna put one slice over the other so that it juice a bit stronger. And let's give this a shake. I'm gonna double strain it in a coupe glass. And there you go, the fruitiness of the Kabosu combined with the funkiness of the Kirsch don't really need us to express any peel on it. And I think if I express a different peel from the Kabosu, It's gonna be kind of weird, and the peel of the kabosu itself, it's kind of hard to express. So let me give it a taste. I will call this the Nameless pink cocktail, because it's a really weird experience. I don't really know how to define it. The kirsch marries the cranberry and the kabosu in a really interesting way. The Galliano and the whiskey brings it all together, and it's a bit velvety, not too acidic. The kabosu jumps at you, helped by the funkiness of the kirsch. It's nice too, and I think he expressed the characteristic of the kabosu nicely. It's not just substituting the kabosu for another citrus. This is nice with the kabosu. I don't know how we will go with a different citrus, but probably yeah, you can make a mix. Like if you mix probably grapefruit, mandarin, lemon, something else, you can come out with something that's gonna fit right into this kind of mix. But hey, this is the kabosu episode, and so we are talking about kabosu. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please hit like, smash subscribe, type your art out in the comments down below. But in the end, do whatever you want. Shake yourself a Dreamville. And I will see you next time. Kabosu might be my favorite Japanese citrus. Controversial. Better than the yuzu? Maybe.